Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Leaders Lead. I'm Zach Husted, and I have Katie Lunning here with me tonight. We're super excited to have you back for episode 3 out of episode 5. Katie, thanks for being here.
Thanks
We're
for
super
having me
excited to
again.
have you. Fantastic. I think in every one of these episodes so far, we've left out kind of the home front. You also got you also got some pretty amazing things going on at home, right? You got a support network there.
Yes. My husband is full-time Army Guard. He's a command sergeant major here in the Iowa National Guard. And I have a 10-year-old daughter who's starting to keep us quite busy. And her name's Addie.
Awesome. Well, thank them for their service as well as thank you for your service because it sounds like a family that serves.
Keeps us out of trouble.
That's awesome. Um, it sounds like it could create some chaos at times too,
Oh,
right?
yes,
Having a
yes.
dual military family.
Yep.
Oh man, uh, Katie, as we before we get into the actual question, one of the other points that I found just absolutely astonishing from the story you told when I met you was from the night um, was the amount of I don't even know how to word this um, the psychological effect that the native Afghanistans had and what they were willing to go through to leave and the risks that they were taking and then how that transpired into the transports itself
Hmm.
and that there was a segment of that you talked about um, and then there's a portion that I'll share like how it transpired in case you don't get to that point of what we saw on the
Hmm.
television. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. From my understanding from being there and then talking to people was as the Taliban was moving through the country and taking over town by town, the entire country of Afghanistan ended up descending into the city of Kabul, which is their capital city. Bagram was gone, so we had already moved out of Bagram, so that didn't exist anymore. And all the Afghan people knew it. Taliban knew it was no secret. Bagram was gone. So the only way of getting out, or the main way of getting out, would be through Hamid Karzai International Airport, HKIA, which is in Kabul. So the people of Kabul had descended into Kabul. It was about the night of the August 15th. Someone can correct my date, but I'm pretty sure it was the 15th was the night that the president of Afghanistan fled in the middle of the night. And that was a signal to the people and to the world and to the Taliban that it was over and the Taliban was here and they were in control. And that's when things really got bad and turned for the worst. People were all inside the airport trying to catch flights, trying to leave if they could, and the Taliban opened fire inside of the airport. Everybody inside the airport, like you would, ran out onto the airfield. And what did they see was a bunch of C 17s with the American flag on the tail, the symbol across the world as freedom and hope. And they rushed at those airplanes. And that was the footage that we were watching, as well as I'm sure all of you at home were watching, of the people rushing onto those airplanes, getting onto the airplanes, crew not knowing what to do, but the best thing they could do was pack all those people onto the airplane. That airplane, when the pilot radioed back and said there was 800 souls on board, you can hear the air traffic controller say, like, he didn't believe him. It was in disbelief. Like, what? Yeah, 800 people. And the pilot was 100% right. It was an estimation, but they went back and counted, and he was accurate. 800 people on a C 17. They didn't even know that was possible. The desperate people that were trying to cling to the C
That's
17s as
nuts.
they took off. They'd rather try to hold on to an airplane than face life with the Taliban. I mean, I personally would have never known that type of desperation. Thank God that I don't know that desperation. But it was heartbreaking to see
Right.
and hard to fathom what they were thinking about and what they were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that was really such a moving part of one of the many portions of what you shared uh, in your speech that night. And I can't even. I don't ever want to feel that way. I don't want my family, anyone I care about, to feel that way. And it really paints a really interesting perspective of you know, um, what people view America as, even though like it may not resonate with everyone the same way that it used to, right? Because we're divided. And
Mhm.
I talked to this a little bit
Mhm.
about last night with Jonathan, or in my last interview, excuse me. And the patriotism may not feel as strong as what it did, but man, that's a sign of hope and unity for people across the nation and across the world. And for them to
Yeah,
want to
I'll
do
never
that, to hold
forget
on the side of
watching
an
them
airplane.
take pictures of the flags that we had hanging in the aircraft, and I'll never forget looking in their eyes and seeing how they looked at the American flag, so I know what that meant to them.
Yeah. And yeah, um, you know, the training can only get you so far, right? And then it's instinct, and then it's some of it's the nurture of just your natural reaction, right? The fight or flight. But let's be honest, there's a lot of training that you go through, right? Through the military, through your professional career, where they teach you, they train you, there's training programs. Can you talk a little bit about the training preparation that helped you um, get to where you're at today, and how you think it's pivotal for the future leaders?
Yeah, yes. So I have always been an ICU nurse. So my critical care skills have been taught to me at the VA. And the Minneapolis VA is one of the biggest VAs. They do a lot of open hearts, they do a lot of neuro. So I was exposed to a lot of really good critical care training through the VA. I also had a pretty diverse background in the National Guard. I wasn't always CCAT. I was part of something called a SURF. You know, as we all know, there's so many acronyms in the military, but that's a CBRNE unit that we train to respond to either man made or natural disasters, and we're the medical support. And with those teams, almost every state or region has one of these SURF teams, and we're there to support our state and our region, you know, in any sort of disaster. So it comes with a lot of really cool training, and I've gotten to go to different trauma trainings. And all of that is just extra, you know, tools in your toolbox, right, for you to draw upon. So I've been very fortunate that I had a really
Hmm.
robust training as a nurse. I think being at the VA also gave me a heart for veterans. I love working at the VA. I can't imagine working, I won't work anywhere else. I love the veterans, the stubborn ones, the funny ones, the old ones, you know, all of them in between. I am very passionate about working for the veterans and serving the veterans. And I see these patients that we had as future VA veterans that I'm going to take care of. So I think that that passion for taking care of them crossed over into the military as well.
And I think it goes into um, being passionate about what you do, and it's really cool to hear that not only did you get that training from the military, but you also got it from a hospital that supports the military. And
Yeah.
I think that's an important message for the next generation to hear, is like, you can go do rad things in the military and then get a career from it, right? Because you're a
Yeah.
living testament of it, right? Like, you
Yeah,
use the skills
100%.
you got. And I think that's often a hard correlation for people to see that, man, I was in the service, I got these skills, I'm doing what I love, and then I continue to do all these cool things and get educated on it, serve my country, and then I'm continuing to serve the population that I'm passionate about. So good on you. Um, Katie, what can we do to continue to help you in the cause, help you in the team?
Yeah, just keep telling the stories. Tell the story of not only my team, but of everyone else. You know, there's so many people that participated in Operation Allies Refuge. And then we haven't even talked about Operation Allies Welcome, which I wasn't a part of, but that was a continuation of helping the Afghan people. And think of how many more people were involved in that.
Hmm.
So, again, just spreading the stories and the awareness.
Yeah, this is like, if you were to think of like the that if you could take the story and like slice it from all the different vantage points, it's just a little tiny one of it, right?
Yep,
And
tiny speck in a
we're
huge
just lucky to
story.
hear we're fortunate to hear the one spec and being able to help share it. So Katie, thanks so much for being here with us for question number 4. Excuse me. Yeah, question number 3 actually, excuse me, of question number 4. Um, at a leader's lead. Thank you so much, and have a great night,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Talk to you soon.